Have you ever felt like you're always being left out? Like no matter how much you try, something or someone always pushes you away. Doors closing, people vanishing, opportunities slipping right through your hands. And deep inside, you start to wonder, is something wrong with me? But what if I told you? You're not being punished. You're not forgotten. You're not cursed. You're chosen. Chosen for something so massive, so sacred, that it requires preparation through pain. Because the ones who carry a divine calling never walk an easy path. They're misunderstood, set apart, and yes, rejected. But here's the truth no one told you. Rejection is not a sign of failure. It's a sign of favor. The world can't accept what it doesn't understand. And what lives inside you? It's not ordinary. It's heavenly. It's rare. It's disruptive. So it makes sense that you've been pushed aside, not because you're not enough, but because you're too much for this world to digest all at once. So today, right here, right now, I'm going to reveal something sacred. The 9 rejections that only the chosen ones ever face. These are not accidents. These are signals, proof that you are not here just to exist. You are here to transform. And by the end of this video, you'll no longer feel ashamed of your pain. You'll understand its purpose. You'll walk away with fire in your eyes and a peace in your heart that no rejection can touch. But listen closely. If you've ever felt that the world just doesn't see you, then this message is a mirror for your soul. So before we dive in, if this already speaks to something deep inside you, tap the like button now. Subscribe if you haven't yet, because this is not just a video, it's a movement. And drop 99 in the comments. Because Psalm 99 reminds us that God reigns and His chosen ones are set apart in holiness. Now, are you ready to discover the truth behind your rejections? Let's begin. Have you ever walked into a room and felt the atmosphere shift, even before you spoke a single word? It's not your imagination. That tension, that discomfort, that unspoken distance, it's real, because when you carry something sacred, inside, the world senses it, even if it doesn't understand it. And what people don't understand, they fear. And what they fear, they reject. You're misunderstood, not because you're confusing, but because your truth is too clear, too sharp, too raw, too pure. You say what others are afraid to admit. You feel things they numb themselves to avoid. You see through the surface, and that unsettles those still hiding behind masks. So they label you, they mock you, they call you too intense, too deep, too emotional. But don't you dare shrink. They're not rejecting you. They're rejecting what your presence awakens in them. And then comes the silence, the loneliness. Because suddenly, you don't fit in anymore. Not in the group you grew up with. Not in the places you once called home. You try to connect, but something always feels off. It's like you're in the room, but not of it. Laughing, but not really laughing. Present, but deeply disconnected. Because you were never created to belong to the crowd. You were crafted to walk a separate path, one that few understand, and even fewer have the courage to follow. But here's the mystery. The more you're pushed out, the closer you get to your purpose. Because the ones who walk with heaven often walk alone. And yet, what if your isolation isn't the enemy? What if it's the invitation? Because in the silence of rejection, something sacred is awakening. And in the next moments, you're about to discover why those closest to you seem to vanish when you needed them most. The next 2 rejections will expose the truth hiding in your relationships, and it will change the way you see everyone around you. Stay with me. One of the deepest wounds the chosen ones carry is the quiet goodbye. No warning, no reason, just silence. Someone you trusted, someone you loved, disappears, and you're left staring at a blank space, asking yourself, what did I do wrong? But the answer isn't about what you did. It's about who you're becoming. When your spirit begins to rise, when your soul starts aligning with your calling, those who were never meant to continue with you begin to feel it. They don't know why they feel uncomfortable around you, why conversations feel forced, why your presence feels heavy to them now. But deep inside, they sense a shift. Your growth becomes a mirror, and mirrors don't lie. So rather than face what they see, they run. Not from you, but from what you reflect. That's why people leave without explanation. It's not personal, it's spiritual. They were only assigned to your past chapter, not your future one. And God, in His mercy, removes them before they become a weight on your wings. And here's what no one tells you. You can intimidate people without saying a word. Not because you try to, but because your very existence exposes what they've tried to bury. Your peace reveals their chaos. Your purpose reveals their confusion. Your light exposes their shadows. And that makes you a threat, not because you harm, but because you illuminate. And the world is still learning how to deal with people who shine without permission. So don't apologize for your presence. Don't dim your fire to keep others comfortable. Because the truth is, the ones who walked away were never strong enough to walk beside the real you. But here's the twist. Sometimes it's not others who leave. Sometimes it's the opportunities that vanish. Even when you've done everything right. And in the next chapter, you'll understand why doors slam shut just when you thought they were finally opening. You'll see how divine rejection protects you from man-made distractions. What's coming will flip your definition of failure upside down. Stay close. You did everything right. You showed up. You gave your best. You stayed faithful, even when no one was watching. And still, the door closed. You watched someone else get the opportunity. Someone less prepared, less committed. And you stood there in disbelief, thinking, why not me? But what if the door that slammed in your face was actually God's hand pulling you back? What if it wasn't rejection, but redirection? You see, when you're chosen, the rules are different. What others call loss, heaven often calls protection. Because settling too early is the greatest threat to your destiny. You might have been ready in your eyes, but God knows what's waiting behind that door. And He refuses to let you walk into something that would sabotage what He's building inside of you. So yes, even when you're qualified, even when you've proven yourself, He'll block the path. Not because you're unworthy, but because what's coming is far greater. And then there's that other kind of rejection, the one that stings even more. When you're not just denied, you're invisible. You work harder than anyone. You give more, you stay late, you show up early, and somehow they still don't see you. But here's the revelation. You weren't born to be discovered by people. You were destined to be revealed by God. Because when man elevates you, they can replace you. But when God elevates you, no one can take your place. The spotlight you're waiting for, it's not on any stage built by human hands. It's in a divine moment, written in heaven's timeline. And when it arrives, it won't need an introduction. You'll step into it, and everything will make sense. But right now, in this very moment, you're in the tension between being prepared and being revealed. And that tension feels like rejection, but it's actually refinement. And in the next part of this journey, you'll discover the rejections that don't come from the outside world, but from the very roots of your own life. The ones that began before you even knew who you were. The next two truths will shake something loose in your spirit, because they reveal that even your past was part of a higher plan, and nothing, not even the pain you were born into, was wasted. Keep watching. Before you even had the language to understand pain, you already felt separate, not by choice, not by rebellion, but by design. Your childhood held a silence others didn't notice, but you felt it. You watched the world around you, but never fully belonged to it. Even in a room full of people, even at your own table, you felt like an outsider. And maybe you tried to fit in. Maybe you bent, you blended, you silenced parts of yourself, just to feel normal. But it never worked. Because the truth is, you were never meant to be normal. Chosen ones are often marked early. Before they can speak their destiny, they start living it, through rejection. Maybe your own family couldn't understand you. Maybe you were the quiet one, or the too emotional one, the dreamer, the odd one out. They couldn't see what was forming in you, so they labeled it as wrong. But what they called too sensitive was actually spiritual discernment. What they mocked as weird was divine originality. You weren't defective. You were distinct, set apart, even before you knew the meaning of the word calling. And the teasing, the bullying, the whispers that made you question your very identity, they weren't just cruelty, they were confirmation. Because the enemy saw your light long before you did, and he used voices close to you to plant seeds of doubt in your soil. But what he didn't expect is that rejection would become your root system, that every mocking word would push you deeper until your foundation was unshakable. And now, here you are, still standing, still chosen, still rising. But this next revelation, it's not about your past, it's about the final rejection that seals your preparation. The one that feels the most painful, but carries the greatest spiritual weight. What you're about to hear is the reason even your prayers sometimes go unanswered. Don't blink. There's a rejection no one talks about, one that doesn't come from the world or from people, but from within. It's when you look in the mirror and can't recognize your own reflection, not because your face has changed, but because your soul is exhausted, worn down by the battles, bruised by silence, crushed by expectation. You start to question your own worth, not loudly, but in quiet thoughts that echo late at night. Maybe I'm not enough. Maybe I imagined the calling. Maybe the rejection was my fault. This is the most dangerous rejection of all, because it doesn't need enemies. It uses your own voice against you. And the scariest part, it feels true, because it echoes all the other rejections you've faced. The words they spoke become your inner dialogue. Their doubts become your identity. But hear this now, and let it shake every lie that's tried to take root in your soul. You are not what they said. You are not forgotten. You are not disqualified. And you are not broken beyond repair. Even in your darkest moment of self-rejection, God never flinched. He never turned away. He looked at every shattered piece of you and whispered, "Mine." Before they rejected you, He accepted you. Before you doubted yourself, He called you by name. Before you were formed, you were chosen. And that calling? It's not based on how you feel today. It's rooted in eternity, unshakable, unstoppable, undeniable. So yes, even when you reject yourself, He still reaches for you. He still fights for you, because His love doesn't depend on your perfection. It flows from His purpose. And now, we've reached the moment you didn't know you were being prepared for. Every rejection you faced was a setup, a divine strategy to awaken the warrior, the messenger, the chosen one inside you. Don't move. What comes next will shift everything. If you face these rejections, it's not because you're broken. It's because you're marked. Marked by heaven. Marked by fire. Marked for a mission that few can survive and fewer can fulfill. You carry something that cannot be explained. A weight, a light, a calling. That's why doors closed. That's why people walked away. That's why your path never looked like anyone else's. Because you were never meant to follow the crowd. You were designed to lead a movement. Every rejection was training. Every delay was alignment. Every heartbreak was shaping your spirit into something untouchable. This wasn't punishment. It was preparation. God didn't abandon you. He was setting the stage. While you thought you were being hidden, you were actually being protected, covered, sharpened, strengthened. And now, the time has come to rise, to speak, to walk in. What you were always meant to become. You are not ordinary. You are not average. You are chosen to shake systems, chosen to break generational cycles, chosen to bring light into places others are too afraid to go. So stand tall, even if your voice trembles, even if your knees shake, because the world hasn't seen your final form, not even close. This is your moment, and it's not the end. It's the beginning of everything. Comment this below. I was rejected because I'm rising. Let the enemy hear it. Let your doubt feel it. Let heaven witness your declaration. And if this word lit something in your soul, don't keep it to yourself. Like, share, subscribe, because someone else out there is questioning their worth.